Hi, everyone. My name is Anthony Caruso III, and I am the publisher of the Capital Sports Report. I am also the host of the Capital Sports Report Live. We are back with another episode of our show. As always, I am joined by Susan Wade, a longtime sports journalist, and she writes for Competition Plus, Dragzine, and Auto Week. Tonight, our guest is Troy Coughlin Jr. He races for Elite Motorsports, and he's been driving in pro stock since 2020. I'm going to play this video.
Final two in pro stock. We got a couple of Chevrolets. We got Eric on one side. We got Troy on the other. How about it? 6,600. And Troy Coughlin Jr. goes back to the top. Erica goes 6.612 at 207, and she moves up to third. They are celebrating down there on the starting line. You know why? First time ever, Troy Coughlin Jr. will start pro stock from the number one spot.
Troy, thank you for joining us on the show tonight.
Hey, thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Congratulations on reaching the final this past weekend at the NHRA Arizona Nationals, where you unfortunately lost to your teammate, Aaron Stanfield, and he won the Wiley just 8 days after his wife gave birth to his daughter, Oakley, I believe her name is.
Yep. Great day for the group for sure, and very happy for Aaron and his wife. That's very exciting.
That final round has to give you a lot of great feelings for this upcoming season that we're shortly we're on just 2 races in, but for the long haul of the season.
Oh, absolutely. Tons of faith. It's thing about Elite Motorsports is it's just the teamwork. Everybody works so hard together, even all the teams. When Erica got beat in the second round and we popped that engine in the lights against Kramer, everybody on Erica's team between Chase and Hollywood, everybody jumped on our car and helped us change that engine to get up there in the semis to run Kyle. So that's exciting to me. That just shows that just the love and the passion for everybody on the team is there and it's present. So it's fun to watch. So if you're a fan and you're at the races, and stop by the Team Elite and come check our cars out. So and meet the team. They're exciting. It's a fun live pit area, and we're very fortunate to be a part of it.
Are you giving Aaron Stanfield some tips on being a dad of a little girl?
I think he's got it figured out, because at Pomona, when I asked him, are you all set? He says, yeah, I've got my bag packed. I've got the car seat in there. I'm like, all right, man, you got it. You were 1.5 steps ahead of me. So I would say he's the type that's he's pretty much got it under control. It's about like his driving. He's pretty much on point.
Yes, he is. I mean, that's hard for you, because that's one competitor, another good competitor you got to deal with. So
he's tough, just like his pop.
And you are just like yours. But it was nice to see you rebound from Pomona. I know that was a big thing. You wanted to be able to do that, huh?
Yeah, of course. When you have a showing like Pomona, you want to come out swinging for the fences. The first race of the year, it's it's the off season, and you want to come out and crush it. And you have mechanical issues, and we had issues even in testing. So to figure the car out and finally come figure it out in the last qualifying session, just to get in the field was to make a final was extremely a blessing. So yes, absolutely, we're happy to have our car back on point, and we're ready to go to Gainesville. We wish it started tomorrow.
You wish you could race every weekend, though, right?
I wish I could race every day, but I take every weekend.
Well, you got to go to real work sometime, right? But that
most definitely.
But that reminds me that it is. But that's it's. I kind of want to change gears here a little bit and talk about business, because I think there's been an item of business that's kind of at the forefront for all you at JEGS right now. And can you explain what's been going on in the last week or so and how that affects you at your daily job and all your family?
Well, we recently brought on a growth partner in Greenbrier Partners, and our family's become the minority shareholder in the business. And these guys, they're very passionate about the automobile, so we're very excited to have them. Just with the resources that Greenbrier has in the fields that they bring to our company, we're extremely excited. My cousin Jeg3 is our president at JEGS, and he's absolutely phenomenal with the company and the assets within it. So the future, in my opinion, holds wonderful things for JEGS. So I would say that the future is bright. We're only going to grow. I think it's going to take time and a lot of new things. I think on the digital side of things, we're going to grow within our website, within customer service. Everything's going to grow, but I believe it's going to take time, and customer's always number one. That's customer satisfaction is always a top priority. That's something that is why we're here. We want to serve the customer to the best of our ability, and it's a passion of ours, and I think that will always remain at the forefront of that.
Does it seem kind of weird that you guys aren't the majority? I mean, that it isn't a family company anymore? Does that seem weird?
No, because we'll always be around. I mean, we're always going to be racing, and Jeggy's there, and we're always going to be there. You can't keep us away. We're always going to have. We always need to be selling some parts somewhere.
Well, that's a good thing. We don't want you to go anywhere.
Yes, you have grown up in a very successful racing family. How special is it to race with and against your dad, your uncle, and your sisters?
It's very special. It's really, it's an honor. There's not many people that can say that they've raced against and with sisters, uncles, cousins, brothers. That's pretty cool. It's a lot of fun because family is the essence of life, and that's kind of what makes it go around. So I can't wait to keep going with it and keep enjoying life.
Next, I would like to play this and get your thoughts on this.
You think this may lead to some uncomfortable dinner conversation tonight? Understand that Troy and Jeggy race at sportsman races all over the country against each other all the time. This is almost old hat to these two guys.
Follow one more bit of trivia. You like Mustangs, you're going to root for the red car. You like Chevrolet, root for the yellow car.
Split screen. In car with Troy Jr., rooftop with Jeg, and we're going to listen to 500 cubic inch engines at 10,000 RPM right about now. Troy Jr. has problems immediately. Troy Coughlin Jr. has absolutely none. The 84th national event victory of his career across all categories. Troy Coughlin Jr. goes 6.680 at 206.92 miles an hour.
And the trophy in his retirement year goes into his hand. But the cool thing about this day is you got to race your nephew in the final. When you think back on this memory, what will that mean for your family?
It's huge, man, without question. Troy Jr.'s been a study of the sport, since a kid. And, I've loved having him come with us week in and week out, whether we're pro racing or bracket racing. He was always a study. And I knew I'd have my hands full here in the final with him without question. He's been knocking the tree over, and we've been pretty good in Old Yeller behind us here. But what a weekend. I want to say hey to Cleve Brown, my stepsister's husband, who's getting through some of the hard times down in Florida. But we're celebrating this one for you. This one's for you, bud. And looking forward to getting to the next race. Let's go.
Troy, what was it like racing your uncle there in the final round?
That was an unbelievable day. First, I was 50 in the final. I was bummed I missed it. But we kind of missed the setup there. But, you're racing a legend and a 6-time world champion. You got to swing for the fences, so if I could go back, I wish we could have dialed it back some, but then again, he's won 84 national event wins, so it's pretty exciting. But just to be next to him, Nothing like it. Picture this. I mean, you're backing up for your burnout and you see, one of your childhood heroes. So there's nothing like that. It's hard to describe that feeling, especially for me, someone who's somewhat quiet or shy. So it's pretty majestic in a way.
Recently, I saw that your uncle, he wore your fire suit at Pomona and he won.
Yep.
I'm actually going to show that picture right here.
I said to Anthony, "How do you know that was his fire suit?" He said, "Because the
my name was on the belt.
Your name was on the belt. That's how I knew
He's
about
waiting for his to come in.
What was it like to see him race with your former team, the McPhillips team, and win?
It's no surprise to me because those guys, they love to win. They love to compete. And just their attitude towards racing matches ours. They show up to win. They love qualifying low and they love making good runs, no doubt. But they race on Sunday to win the race. So, and that really matches our goals. And it's a lot of fun because that's what wins on race day. And did not shock me a bit to see the results on Sunday at Pomona. It was quite fun to watch. It was neat to be on the starting line this time to see the reactions of Duke and Rich and Richie and the whole group, because those guys get fired up. They get pretty lit up on the starting line. It's pretty fun to watch. That's Duke when he starts running. That's the little clutch guy. That's a hoot, man. When he runs out there before Mike does a burnout, he's a fast little guy. It's fun. You need to watch Top Alcohol Dragster next time you're at a race.
He actually was your backup guy.
I've watched him every time. Always got a little chuckle.
That's cute. I'm gonna watch for him. I got tickled because I just got a press release today about Mike going to the Baby Gators, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm reading down there, and it's and he starts talking about the victory, and he says, "Oh, you qualify well, and then all of a sudden they're handing you a trophy." I'm thinking, I don't think it's that easy. But it was for him, I guess. But that cracked me up.
It is what we make it.
Yeah. No, it just cracked me up that before you know it, they're handing you a trophy. It's going to happen every week like that, right?
Waiting at the scale with a contingency claim form, ready to go.
Well, that team the McPhillips team, that they're one of the top teams in the country. When you drove it, and when Rich Sr. drove it, and Rich Jr. drives it, now you got Mike Cummings drives it sometimes as well. So they're a very good team, even though they're out here in Pennsylvania. They are a good team to be messed with around the country.
They're a great team, and I think they just want to win, and that's all they want to do. They don't care who's driving. They just want somebody that's in there that wants to win too. So between Mikey and Matt and Richie, little Richie himself, I think that's a pretty studded lineup there for A Fuel. So you're in an A Fuel category, watch out, because that's a tough group.
Has the experience that your family has helped you in the learning curve with most of the classes that you have competed in? And how difficult was it to go to Top Fuel when now none of your family members, except for your grandfather, has actually driven that kind of dragster?
It was a little bit intimidating. Just the fact that you were getting in something that had that much horsepower, that was something that was just that long. But the desire was there. It's something I wanted to learn, something different. And I just love the sport of drag racing. It's something I've been around my whole life. And when you love something, you bring a lot of energy and a lot of passion. So you're ready to take it head on, and you're not scared. You can be concerned. That's awareness. But I don't know. You learn to take criticism, whether you take it constructively or not. I guess you learn who to learn from, I guess. And that sounds kind of funny, but you pick and choose who to learn from, and you learn how to learn, and you learn who to learn from. And yeah, it had its challenges for sure, most definitely. That's a lot of horsepower. It's a lot of marketing. Those guys that do it for a living, the Sean Langdons, the J.R. Todds, those guys, they deserve a lot of credit. They work very hard at what they do. And those motorsports, the teams, the Kalitta Motorsports, the DSRs, TSRs, they work hard to secure the funding and buying parts to the whole organization. It's so much work. It's intimidating.
You brought it. I'm sorry, Anthony. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I did want to point out, thank you for saying that about taking criticism, because it's so hard for anybody in any walk of life to take criticism at what they do. But it's also, I don't even know how to say it. It's kind of, everybody should be nicer to everybody else, because it's hard to do if you go to Frank Hawley's school just for fun and you take that, you'll realize how hard it is to cut a good light, or how hard it is to be straight and not go out of the groove, or whatever it is. People criticize. People sit in the grandstands. They don't really know. And no knock on people, are just people, but they're not trying to be mean, but it hurts when they criticize you and they really don't know what it is you go through.
Well, I guess it depends on how you look at it. I've always appreciated fan criticism, because the fact that they took time enough to buy a ticket, or took time enough to care enough to say something. They're not only looking at the brands on the car, but they're passionate enough about drag racing to make a comment. I love it. I would love to engage. I'd love to say, hey, I really appreciate your feedback, and I appreciate your opinion, and it's a valid opinion. So whatever you think, that's great. We just appreciate that you're here, and we love passionate fans. So we need you. Keep coming.
You're so nice. I'm sorry, Anthony, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
Sure, you have dabbled in so many different cars and competition. You were also the 2015 Pro Mod Rookie of the Year. Do you foresee yourself staying in Pro Stock where you are right now for the long haul? Or would you like to go back to Top Fuel or Pro Mod one day?
Oh, geez. I mean, there's always unfinished business, but I don't know. I don't know what the future holds. I mean, I'd be open to anything. I just love drag racing. So, whatever opportunities come our way, and kind of we'll just have to see. I guess for now, I really love driving the Pro Stock car. I love the challenge. I love the challenge of driving and having to be chasing perfection and driving and working with a crew chief, and just having to be flawless pulling the gears. I mean, if you're running on the limiter, you're losing momentum. If you short stick it, you're not putting all the power to the ground, and you got to club the tree every run. It's just, I like that. I like chasing that. It's a lot like bracket racing to me. So at the moment, I really love the Pro Stock car. I'm kind of romantic with Pro Stock. It's a love.
In December, Drag Illustrated spotlighted you and others in their Pro Stock's Next Generation cover with Dallas Glenn, Mason McGahey, and Kyle Koretsky. You were honored by the selection according to your social media post. What does it mean to race with this new generation that's here now in the class?
Well, it means a ton. I mean, guys like Dallas Glenn, I mean, heck, he's earned his spot in a Pro Stock car. The kid crushes the tree, and he's worked on the cars a ton, so he knows what he's getting into, and he's very passionate about the sport. I like competing against guys like that. Aaron Stanfield, same thing, grew up around it just like me. Obviously, Aaron Stanfield could probably crew chief something. He's extremely talented behind the wheel and can pretty much tune anything, in my opinion. Mason, I don't know him as well, but he can obviously club the tree as well. All the younger guys that they're hopping in great cars. As Greg Anderson's mentioned, the equipment's fantastic, and we are all very lucky, our younger generation, to hop in great cars because the older generation has paved such a great path for us. So, yeah, it makes it exciting and adds a level of excitement to the show for the fans and the viewers on the Fox show. So it means a lot. It's a lot of fun. I can't wait to keep going with it. Kyle Kretsky too. He's same deal with Aaron. Grew up watching his pop Kenny, and he can obviously let the clutch fly and bang the gears with the best of them. So it makes it fun because it really adds a lot of value to the class. It makes you want to watch because it's entertaining and interesting.
Troy, you are part of Elite Motorsports. I believe right now they got 7 or 8 drivers in the class, and you got a 4-time champion leading the pack with Eric Enders. What's it like being a part of Richard Freeman's operation?
It's an absolute blast. As I mentioned before, teamwork, being a part of that team is so cool. It's as it is right here. You wear it on your heart. It's a big family. It's almost like a university. We're all for one for all, and everybody roots on each other and helps each other. And one of us is out, we're rooting on the next guy or gal, and so to speak. So it's exciting. We're all very very passionate in drag racing, that's for sure. So all walks of life at Elite Motorsports. If you come by our pit, you're going to see lots of character. That's for sure. You will be smiling and you'll be laughing, and we'll make your day. I guarantee you. So come on by.
Can't you grew up in Ohio, so you're the heartland and you don't have an accent. I don't think we Midwesterners have an accent, but could you just listen to Richard Freeman talk all day? I mean, don't you love his voice?
All the Freemans, I mean, they're a blast. They're such nice people. They have huge hearts. They'll help you in a minute. If you need something, they'll drop everything and they're going to help you. It's a loving group, and when it comes to having just a great group behind you to give you a shot at winning a championship, that's the place. It's very exciting. It's awesome for the class of pro stock.
Oh, go ahead, Anthony. Were you going to say something?
Oh, it was your turn.
Oh, I was going to. Well, you brought up something that was kind of interesting. Is that the kids and the veterans? I don't know if you're a kid still, or you've got so much experience, or are you more of a tweener, or what? I don't know what you are, but who's going to win? I mean, last year we talked about the kids, and then in the end it was the veterans who came up and it duked it out for the final deal. So, are the kids? Is this the year the kids are going to have their turn, or what?
I don't know. Well, we'll see how it shakes out. But I can tell you this. I was down at my father's house in Florida over in Thanksgiving, sitting in the hot tub with him and Uncle Jeg, and Uncle Jeg brought up something pretty valid. We're sitting there, and he's like, I was at Englishtown, and he said, I want to say it was 1999 or 1998. He says, Q1, I went like 7:02, and I'm fourth. But when I went up for Q2, it was dusk. Q2 E-Town was always dusk. And by the time the guy who's fourth got to the water box, you're now in the 23rd or 24th spot. So you need to get back in because the session got that much better. The air got that much better. And the next day, the air was probably not going to be that good. So this was the only session that you needed to this was the run you needed to make the best run to get back in. So these guys that we deem the older guys had pressure on them in qualifying. So these guys are gladiators mentally every single run they make in a pro stock car. So these guys are ice for reasons like that. The Greg Andersons, the Uncle Jegs, the guys that have been doing this for years because they're making flawless executions every run they make because that's where they came from. They had to make their Q2s, 3s, and 4s had to be flawless. Every run they made had to be flawless just to stay in the show because there used to be 30 to 40 pro stock cars and not 17 or 18. So it's just a little bit different. And to me, in my opinion, I think that's some of it why some of the older guys are that good at making such good runs in these pro stock cars and hitting the tree and just hitting the shifts as well as they do and just making great runs as they do, which makes it fun for us because it gives us something to work at. We got to have goals. I mean, there's no ceiling for knowledge in drag racing. There's always something to go after.
But do you think the kids are going to beat like Greg is saying, and Eric is now joining Greg and saying, we old folks got to stick together here because these kids are really putting a lot of pressure on us. I mean, are the kids going to seal the deal this year, you think?
I think we're going to give them a run for their money. That's for certain. I think we approach each race with our best foot forward. I would say we're gonna get it done. That's for sure.
Well, you've got such a wealth of drag racing knowledge, but it's funny because there are a lot of people in your family who don't drag race. You mentioned your cousin Jeggy. He's big into golf, and I think your sister Kelly is into equestrian stuff, and
Yep.
and Cody went to NASCAR, and there's just so many people who aren't in drag race. It's kind of fun to have a mix of people who don't talk shop, right?
It's pretty interesting. I mean, little Jeggy's obviously within the company of JEGS now. So he's pretty active in the business. Obviously, he's our president, but when he's not doing that, he has played a little bit of golf. Mike's two kids, Jack and Clay. Clay's racing super stock, which he's only 17, so you'll see him in a C-modified car. Watch for him. He's going to be phenomenal. He really is ate up by it. Same thing with Jack. He really likes some high-dollar bracket racing and a little bit of super comp, so these two kids will be tough. My little sister Kelly, she's also at the Ohio State University. Very smart gal. She's going to school there, and we got people everywhere here. Our family's huge, but you're right. It's a diverse mix of people doing a little bit of everything. It's exciting. It's very exciting.
What's the deal with Paige going off to the wild side, to the street outlaws, no prep kings? What's that all about?
I think it's cool. It's going to be fun to watch, and she's so well-spoken, and I think she's developing a great brand within her own right. So I think she's going to love the door car scene. She's only driven a dragster so far, so I think she's going to fall in love with that. I don't know. Once the car's done and they get out and making some laps, I think it's something she's really going to like. But I've never been to an NPK race, but I'm excited to go check it out because it's something different. I'm not really biased, NHRA, IHRA, NPK. I like it all. I just like drag racing. I want to compete. So I can't say that I don't like it, but I've never been, and I'm looking forward to going and rooting her on.
Where's your first race going to be?
I want to say I thought it was in April in Palm Beach.
Yep, they start in April, correct?
Yeah, and I'm not. I think is it Palm Beach? Is that where it is?
I can check real fast.
PBIR.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. The place
Great
surrounded
track.
by alligators.
Oh, I've raced there before. It's one of my favorite tracks.
Yeah.
Marissa was always there.
Is that near your dad's place?
Yeah, about 9 miles.
Yeah. Cool. Now we know where to go soap the windows on Halloween.
Yeah.
You
Come
tell
on,
them
let's
that.
go.
Tell them to look out.
Palm Beach International, April 8th and 9th.
Okay.
And then Virginia, and then Maple Grove, New England, National Trail, which could be by you in Hebron. Is that by you?
She's gonna love it. She does well with fans, and I think she'll get to sell T-shirts, which I think is exciting.
Oh, it's always good to make money.
It'll help the fun to do it. That's for sure.
Well, and she's pretty eclectic. I mean, she's got some eclectic interests anyway. Didn't she play the violin and know several languages? And
She did the equestrian stuff too. She was within that. She's graduating from University of Miami of Ohio this year in May of this year. So she does a lot of social media, very smart within content creation. She's got a bright future within the company of JEGS as well, especially within content creation, social media. It's a much needed field.
And then Megan's got her beauty stuff going on, right?
She did some esthetician stuff. She's dabbled in quite a bit of different things. Her son Brodix right now is kind of her top priority. He's 7 and in school, and he's a handful. He wants to be a racer. God love him. And he's busy racing his scooter right now, which is what I started on. And he's going to be doing some junior dragster racing this year. So we're excited to watch him too.
And then how's your grandpa? Because he's the most interesting guy. He's done so many things, and it's the way he approaches things. When he wants to know something, he goes right to the most important person he can figure out who can help him, with what he's got going on.
Pappy is a very methodical person. He's very logical, very quiet, and very intelligent. And he's a lot of fun too. Once you get to know him, he's a lot of fun to listen to, and he's got a huge heart too. He's a sweetheart and a lot of fun to talk to. He's usually a weekly phone call for me, and I've can tell you each time you call him, you learn something new every time, from age 14 to 31 today. So I'm extremely lucky, and I'm definitely the luckiest kid in the pits, that's for sure, to have the resources I got.
That's so nice of you to say that.
Troy, you have spent time and still spend a lot of time in the Lucas Oil Drag Racing Series on the sportsman side. What is it about those classes that keep you excited?
It's a lot like the pro stock thing. It's chasing perfection. You're trying to be 00, and you're trying to know what you can go, and you're trying to take as little as possible finish line margin, or at least go as dead on as you can and do as flawless job as you can each round. And I like that execution. I think it's fun, and it's addicting. Bracket racing is addicting. We can't put it down. We love it, and we sell the parts to do it. And I think the biggest thing is addiction, personally. Can't stay away from it. And so that's funny. In NHRA Media Day, they asked me, your favorite sportsman class? And I answered immediately, Super Gas. I just couldn't hold it back. I've always loved Super Gas.
What's it about Super Gas? Sorry, what's it about Super Gas?
The Roadster, Uncle Jag's Roadster. That Roadster that he has is just fun. It's just a fun car to drive, because the Dragster's so nonchalant, goes straight most of the time. Goes straight, comes off the stop, and just does what it does. But the Roadster just kind of, it's like driving a grocery cart with a 600-inch big block Chevy in it. And it's just a lot of fun. And you race a lot of guys that I've been watching since I was a kid. So it's just fun to get to race people like that. And it's strategy. And it's fun. It's a way of life. I'll probably do it the rest of my life.
You like strategy. You're a thinker. You're a deeper thinker.
Sometimes it bites me. Yeah.
But as long as you said it's like a grocery cart, as long as you don't get the one with a wonky wheel.
Correct. Yep. This thing's pretty well kept. We've got some really good guys in the shop here at JEGS.
I remember in August 2019, you were here at Echo Dragway in Echo, New Jersey. You were driving the McPhillips racing car, Dragster, Top Alco Dragster, and you had your Super Comp car here. Paige had her Super Comp car here, and you guys were doing that while you were racing the McPhillips car.
Mm-hmm. I was actually trying to qualify my Dragster in Top Dragster, and it wasn't fast enough. So I ended up just making a couple time runs, because I was getting ready for a bracket race that following week, and ended up not even qualifying in Top Dragster. It was really just making a couple time runs while Paige was racing in Super Comp. But yeah,
Do you
like
remember-
Jackie Frick busted me first round, then alcohol dragster on a whole shot. I was still getting my bearings in that car. I wasn't hitting the tree very well that summer.
Do you remember every race? That's fascinating. That you
Yeah,
remember every
most of
event.
the time I've always liked stats. I mean, most of the time I could tell you what my dad or Jeg did years back at certain places. Sometimes John and Mike too.
Do you remember when you beat Josh Hart here at Echo Dragway in the final round of Top Alcohol Dragster?
I'm amazed that they waited as long as they did. Honestly, we
It
went
was almost like
556,
11 o'clock at night.
probably 6 cylinders. It was that they. I think we had one or two holes out the whole time, and he spun the whole way down. I was really lucky. I counted my lucky stars.
Your grandfather and a gentleman named David Roark developed an electric junior dragster motor. What was that all about, and what is the status about it today?
So he did that to make it easy. Pappy and Dave Rourke, they worked with the guy in Texas who had these electric motors already done. So he's already had these motors. So Pappy called these guys and said, "Hey, send us one of these motors. I want to put it in one of these junior dragsters." And Pappy wanted to make it to where you could buy one junior dragster and put it to a family so he could have one dragster from age 8 to 18. So you could just tune the motor to go pretty much whatever you wanted. So if it's 1290, you tune it at 1290. When he's 2 years older, you can make it go 1190, all through your computer. Now, I don't know as much of the nuts and bolts to the tune. I know it's all amps and voltage to make the thing work, but you can kind of tune it as you go. So it's a bigger upfront spend, but you don't spend as much to get into the sport of drag racing. So he wanted it to be a little bit more affordable and easier to take it to the racetrack. So like Michael Ruark, so David Ruark's son, Michael, he raced junior dragster, and he made it to where if David was out of town, Michael and his mom could go race, and his mom could help him run it. That's how simple this was to run once you got started, once you could get rolling with it. So it was easier, it was less money over time, and it was different. It was fun. It was really quiet. It's really quiet too. That's the only thing, is it kind of it's different for the car culture folk, but as far as ease goes, it's really cool. It's definitely new aged.
For those that do not know, the junior dragster class was started here in New Jersey at Old Bridge Township Raceway Park, with Jill McKenna and David Knapp racing in the first race of that class. Troy, what's your take on the electric-powered race cars? Will this be the wave of the future? And will you drive one time? Will you drive an electric car anytime soon?
Well, I really like what I'm in. I really love the 8-cylinder. Like, just we were watching those videos of me driving the pro stock car, and I just was admiring the sound. I love that. And I'm like, I mentioned I'm romantic about the class. That's one factor that makes my hair stand up is the sound. It's a 5 sensory experience at an NHRA drag race, and that's one major factor to it. But yeah, I think it's going to be part of our sport. I wouldn't put it down. Some people like that, and I think we shouldn't not welcome it at all. I would say that for the people that like that, let's not put them down or put them in a corner. Let's welcome it and let them have a class. Let them have their fun at the drag strip too. But would I drive one? If chance given, I'd give it a shot. It'd be interesting to see what it's like to be that quiet. It'd be interesting to see what the functionality and how it all works. A lot of technology and a lot of work goes into making something like that work. But I do really love what I'm in today. That's for sure.
I believe it was last year, Bob Tasca III actually driven an electric car at a national event.
Yeah, I think I watched him make one or two of the runs, and one I think what did he go 8.0s, 8.30s. It was fast. It made a couple good laps, which I'm sure you could probably go a lot faster. But those things it was heavy too. It was a full-on factory stock car.
Yes.
It was
Those
pretty
were
cool.
exhibition runs. He didn't do those in competition.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I shouldn't say that. Did he do that in Factory Stock Showdown? I don't think he did. I think it was an exhibition.
there,
I think it was just an exhibition run.
Yeah, I thought so.
Huh.
Yeah. Well, then there was before the Cobra Jet, there was the E Copo Camaro, right? So,
Mhm.
so it's interesting. Technically, you and I talked about that at Atlanta in pre-race Atlanta.
Yep.
And I was surprised that I remember you saying that there were actually some people who have a few, not a lot, but who are out there already with some electric vehicles, electric race cars.
Oh,
Competing.
sure.
Yeah.
Some people really like technology and new wave items and really like trying new waters. And hey, that's great. If that's what you like, that's what you're passionate about, do it. Do it wholeheartedly.
Hey, what do you think of? I wanted to see it, and I didn't get to go, but to Indianapolis to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway where they did the autonomous cars, and I know Las Vegas has had a race with the autonomous cars. So I think that would be fascinating. I was talking to Jason Fiorito, who runs Pacific Raceways, and he said, I want to see drivers in cars with drivers competing against the autonomous cars, and that would be interesting. So what do you think of all that autonomous stuff, which is a little different?
That's very different. Yeah, I don't know how that exactly would work. That it would be entertaining. That'd be something different. That would be wild. You're right on that. That's there would be definitely some entertainment value there.
Would anybody go and see a autonomous drag race? I mean, a drag race with autonomous cars.
I mean, maybe. I mean, if there's a drag race and there's two of something, I would say you're probably going to have some sort of crowd. That's something my grandfather's always said. If there's two of anything, there's going to be a race.
That's probably
and somebody's going to watch.
That's probably true. That would be interesting. In fact, do you follow the Extreme E series at all?
I do not.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that one.
I do some, but it's the Odyssey. They call the car the Odyssey, and everybody's pretty much got the same one. But it's really interesting because of not just the technology, but the materials they use for the body of the car. It has flaxseed in it. And I told one of the drivers, I said, I don't know whether to race that car or dip it in salsa or something.
Yeah, maybe a little protein shake.
Yeah, exactly. But they go through some. I mean, their purpose is it's to show off the EV technology, and it's to show global climate change and all that.
Okay.
So it's like sort of a dual purpose. It's a pretty forward thinking. It's a pretty cool deal, actually. On several different levels, which is interesting. So I don't know what the other forms of motorsport could take from that, but it's actually pretty interesting.
Something to look at.
Yeah, something different, So, but and I've got to ask you this because we've been talking about family, and I know you think of your elite team as family, and you've been pretty transparent about helping your family members on the track, And I know that came up. I think it was last year at Las Vegas, I think maybe, or was it Pomona? I can't remember, but helping Erica, teammates helping teammates. Is that? I don't know if you got a lot of pushback from that, or if you were the one who was open and said, "No, that's what we do. Everybody knows this stuff." So, can you talk about that a little bit? And what would you do that again? And what's that like? It puts you in a weird position, I think, but
it's definitely a strange spot, and it's probably not the best way of going about it. But it is what it is. It's definitely a weird place, but I think how I went about it as far as execution probably isn't, I know for a fact, isn't the best way to do that, to make something so blatant like that. The way I did that was completely wrong. I would probably not do that again.
Interesting. Did anybody? I mean, Greg Anderson was vocal about it, but yeah, I mean, because he was involved in this intense, championship race. But
Sure.
did you get any blowback from anybody else, or?
No, not really. I mean, it's part of competition. It's part of heat of the battle, and I made a split-second decision, and it was just not how it should have went down. Just should have done a better job of making it look not so blatantly obvious.
Well, your team wasn't the first to engage in that sort of thing, so it's not like you blew that wide open. That, I mean, it's been done before, and it's been talked about with other teams, So
Sure. And I'll always be open. I'll admit my errors, and that was 100% my personal error. That's something that was definitely on my shoulders that I will always take 100% credit for.
Something I know you're comfortable with talking about, Troy, is the JEGS Foundation. How involved are you in that?
A little bit here and there. That's something that my dad and Uncle Jag, Mike, and John are probably the most involved in, as they started it together along with the Ohio State University. It's a really neat deal that we hold near and dear with cancer research. It's very exciting.
In December, we briefly talked about this earlier with the Street Outlaws, No Prayer Kings. You had a visitor, Disco Dean Kearns. He came and delivered you guys a check for the foundation. Could you talk about that moment?
Yeah, he donated some money from some of his T-shirt sales in October, because he did a pink shirt. So he was kind enough to donate some of his sales to that foundation to us, and brought it up to us just before Christmas time. So thank you, Disco. He's a really cool dude. He's a lot of fun. I've known him for a long time. He's a old bracket racer from Xenia, Ohio. So great dude.
Yes, and he also has, I believe, doesn't he wear sometimes your fire suit, JEGS fire suit?
Mm-hmm. Pink jacket. Yep.
Yep. And then they have I don't know why they do this, but Discovery blacks out his, I think it's his hand gesture on the show for some odd reason. I don't know.
Yeah, probably of some sort. I'm not 100% sure of his story on why, but I can only imagine. He's an outspoken dude that's just a funny guy that he'll get you giggling pretty hard.
You and your family are huge Ohio State Buckeye fans. And you told me previously that your family has season tickets to football games at the shoe. Could you talk about what it's like to go to those events where there's tons of people at, and it's way different than going to a drag race?
It's a lot of fun. It's pretty electric. It gets you fired up. It's a lot of tradition. It's loud. It's the same group of people, especially when you sit in the same section for years. It's the same group you've seen forever. The expectations are sky high, and it's a lot of fun. It's always exciting atmosphere, and it's always usually generally a close game, depending on which one you go to. And it's a lot of tradition, a lot of stuff that you see from childhood, and nothing really changes. It's a ton of fun. You got to come. It's a lot of fun.
Being that your family is close with the JEGS Foundation with the cancer research, have you been able to meet like Ryan Day and the staff and some of the players?
I've never met Ryan Day. Never met him, and not many of the staff or many of the players. Those guys are usually they're pretty lasered in. They're pretty lasered in on the task at hand, and don't really get much time to get out and amongst the fans, so to speak. But if I ever had a chance to meet him, I definitely would. But he's usually pretty lasered.
Man, don't you wish we could get those kind of crowds at the drag races though? What is that? What is the
It's about
stadium?
105,000.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool?
That'd be great. That'd be something else. I mean, if it's not a goal, it should be. That'd be something to have 100,000 people.
I don't know. Maybe your family has talked about this in the past. I don't know what the biggest crowd ever has been and where it's been. I mean, Gainesville's a big track, and Englishtown was always had tons of seats. It was cavernous, you know. Have they ever talked about what the biggest crowd they ever saw at a drag race was?
I think National Trails was always the top 3. Woody always had the top 3. It was always Trails was always third, top 3 largest crowd. I do remember hearing Woody talk about that. God, the crowd looked awesome at Phoenix this past weekend. NHRA did a fantastic job of getting everybody in, and the track at Wild Horse Pass did a great job too. So that was exciting. Indy always looks good. Vegas is so big. Chicago was always so huge. It was always so hard to fill that place. It's like a stadium. Yeah. Norwalk, the Bader family, they do a phenomenal job making that place look like a football stadium that's full, because it usually is full. I don't know, the drag racing, we got a lot of really cool promoters and track owners, and NHRA does a great job with it too. There's a lot of exciting things in drag racing. We're lucky to have a lot of great people.
Yeah, I think Gainesville's going to have another overflow crowd again. It's always good at Gainesville.
We'll take them.
That's always fun. Even out in the Lucas Oil Series pits, I think you get a lot of fans out there too. They come out and are interested in what you're doing out there. It's not just for the pros, is it?
People just love hot rods, race cars. I mean, why not? It's like I said, it's a sensory experience. It's all 5 senses. It's just jam packed. There's a lot to see, a lot to do, and a lot going on. Very sensory.
Troy, since we have you here, I would like to ask you this. There's been a concern that the NHRA ticket prices are too high for the modern family today. They're going to spend like $1,000 or more for a weekend at the track from a Friday, Saturday, and Sunday if they go. And they say that, well, when you go to the Street Outlaws, their tickets are like $30, where the NHRA is like $75 a day. Do you think that the NHRA should maybe lower their ticket prices to make it more affordable for families?
I guess I'm not sure on the value process of how to evaluate the value of the sports property that these fans are coming to view. But I would definitely always make sure that I've done the market analysis to see that I'm competitive, comparing, each property that I'm compared to, for sure. And I know they are, because the NHRA is a fabulous business model. I'm sure they're doing a great job. But I don't know, I know they listen to their fans. I'm sure that they take that in, and sure they have it evaluated. But, if they made that call to me, I would just have to get it evaluated and look and make that business decision that best could keep the doors open the best I could. But I don't know. That's tough. That's why I really like the position I'm in. I think
you don't have to worry about none of that.
That's just tough. I mean, if I had it my way, I'd just let everybody in. But that's why they don't put me there. That's probably why they put me here, or do not put me there ever.
Well, if it was your grandpa, he would go to the Ohio State University marketing department and ask them to do a study, right? That's what he did with the colors of JEGS, right?
I want to say my great-grandpa, Paw was in the stands and was trying to see what colors he could see best from the furthest away, and then from high speeds, like what colors he could see going down the track the best. And I think he came up with yellow and black that way too. But it wouldn't surprise me if he had a study done too.
That's really interesting. I didn't realize that it went that far back that your great grandpa, right? Yeah.
Paw. Yep.
Yeah. So there's Pawpaw and Pappy, you know.
Yeah.
And then what's your dad going to be called?
Well, he's Pop.
Oh, Pop. That's right.
Yep.
That's right.
That's
I
what
have
my
heard
daughter
that.
Aubrey calls him, and Brodix calls him. They call him Pop.
Pop. And
Brodix called him Pop because when the turbo car, when you press the trans brake and floor it to build the boost, it goes pop. So I wanted to call him Pop because of that. And I'm thinking, you got it, bud. That's perfect.
that's cool.
It fit. I'm thinking he's already got a mind for it.
He's so cute. He's just cute. He's always talked drag racing, right? Since he could talk, right?
Had it figured out.
Well, he's got a name like that. It came from drag racing, right?
He's gonna be a cylinder head guy, apparently.
Oh, really? Is that his deal?
The name Brodix. Yep.
Yeah. So that's cool. And what about Aubrey? I mean, she's just probably starting to walk right now, right?
She's turning 13 months next week, and she's just starting to slowly walk. She crawls faster, so if she wants to haul the mail somewhere, she'll start crawling, and then she'll slowly walk. If you hold her hand, she'll get to walking. But she knows what she wants. She plays with some Hot Wheels sometimes. I got this little monster truck that she likes to watch. When I put the in-car camera on the big TV, she'll watch with me. She'll study some film with me.
Wow.
It's
indoctrinating them early.
It'll be whatever she wants to do, I support. She wants to play volleyball and basketball like her mom did. I'm in. If she wants to race, let's go.
What if she wants to drive that monster truck you just hinted at a few seconds ago?
She'll have to find her way into that because I don't know how to get into something like that. It'll be entertaining, but I don't know about that one. That could be entertaining.
That's cool.
We
should probably let you get back to well, she's in bed right now, you said.
Oh, right? She's zonked. She is sawing logs.
Is she a snorer already?
No, not yet. I don't think so.
I don't think babies don't snore, do they? I don't think
she'll be up. She'll probably wake up at probably 5:30 tomorrow morning, 6 o'clock.
Look at you. What time do you get up?
I'm about 5, 6 o'clock. I'm usually there.
Oh, so it's okay. She's on your schedule. She's on your get up schedule.
Perfect.
Oh, that's so nice, dude.
We have a lot of fun. She's such a blast. A huge blessing for me and my wife, Brenna. We have an absolute blast with her. My wife, she's a saint to deal with my schedule between working at JEGS or with my dad around some real estate stuff and his brothers, and with the schedule with racing. And she's a nurse too, so she's a contingent nurse, and dealing with my hours. And then when she does work with, and then she's got the baby here, and she deserves a medal. She's tough. Plus, she deals with me. I may be super nice and shy, but trust me, it's not easy.
No, I think you're just being modest, because I think you're probably a pretty easy person to get along with. So
she keeps me in line.
Well, we women have to do that.
Schedule there.
What's that?
You have a very busy schedule there with racing and JEGS and real estate. It's a lot on your plate.
Well, it's we're very fortunate to have such awesome people that work at JEGS or within the race shop, and people that work with us, and that's what makes everything possible, is the people. And that's something that was taught to us at a young age too. It takes people, whether you're racing or working. People make it possible, and that's just it. That's what it boils down to. Great people do great things.
That's the one thing I loved about learning about JEGS, was that you've got these employees, and when they hit certain milestones, they're rewarded. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because it's cool. It's a cool story.
Well, Ray Stagg this year, he's our advertising guy who pretty much did the catalog, JEGS. He hit 50 years this year. And he told his story at the Christmas party, and that was really cool. And just to hear him talk about him being brought on and when he was first hired, just talking about 50 years at JEGS. And I've been here since birth, but active in the company, I was started in sales and I was 16. But to hear this guy just tell his whole story and his journey was just so cool. The passion in his voice. I thought, how cool. What a place. And, this guy cares so much. That's what our people make this possible. That's what it means when Pappy says it's so important to value that statement. That's the product of that. So people's, that's everything. That's what's going to make it work. You have to make the people, you have to make it their idea. All the good ideas that work, it's their idea. And all the bad ideas that didn't work, it can be your idea. You got to be okay with that.
There's a good tip for everybody in business, no matter what your business is, right?
It's a form of that. I forget how Pappy worded that, but he may have worded that a little bit differently, but it's pretty much what he would tell me.
We'll have to get him on here too. He could share his knowledge with us.
Sure he'd jump on.
I got to tell you one thing. I can't remember where it was, but it was at a race many years ago, and I asked him, when you got a son in each lane and they're racing, if they're racing against each other, who do you go to? And he said, well, at the end, I go to the one who lost. Not to congratulate the one who won, because the one who lost is the one who kind of needs you right now, I think, very, very, just insightful about how he cares about people.
I remember racing Pro Mod, and I had to run Dad, and he didn't like it when I had to race against Dad. And he always, you have to run your dad. I said, well, and I mentioned this earlier in the show about racing your hero. I said, picture this, you're backing up from your burnout and you see your childhood hero. I said, forget emotions, forget ego. There's just nothing like it. You're at your sport you're passionate about and you see your childhood hero. Make a lap. You're happy either way, You're ecstatic just to be there. You made it. You're there. You're so lucky. And he smiled. He smiled then and never really said anything to me about it again. When it came to the, you got to run your dad. And I don't know if I always thought that was fun.
Did he want you to not beat him, or did he want you to beat him, or you don't know?
He never really said. We only ran each other twice, me and Dad. We went 1-1. He beat me one time at Norwalk, and I beat him once in Houston.
Wow. Maybe Aubrey will race you someday.
I hope she cracks me every time. I'll be proud father. I'll probably be too old by the time she's racing a bigger car. I hope I am.
You wouldn't lay down for her, though, would you? It'd be a good head-to-head race, right?
No, not laying down for my no way.
I got to tell you, the very first countdown that we had, I don't know how many people remember this, but it was only 8 cars got in instead of 10, and it came down at Reading was the last qualifying race. It wasn't Indianapolis, it was at Reading, and Morgan Lucas was going to race Melanie Troxel. Melanie she was in line to get that number 8 spot, and she had to run Morgan, her teammate at that time. And everybody said, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And they decided they had to race heads up and just live with whatever happened. And he beat her. She did not get in the countdown that year. And everybody said, oh, Morgan, that's terrible. That's stupid. You should have let her in. And then he said, well, if I'd let her win, then I would have been, that would have made me look bad. If I beat her, that made me look bad. It was kind of a no-win situation,
Sure.
in that. So I always think about that. So whatever you do, it doesn't matter. Somebody's going to complain. So,
It's not easy. It's just a factor to it. It's just a piece that part of the competition piece that you'll live with your whole life, and you just have to accept it, and you move forward, you move on, and you learn from your mistakes, and always admit your faults. And that's just kind of how I was raised, I guess, when it comes to my own personal mistakes, at least. But
you guys don't make that many.
well,
You're
human.
good racers.
We're human. We're going to. You learn from them.
Troy, they talk about this all the time in drag racing. You see this with Antron and Steve Torrance. They said they're brothers from another mother, but as soon as they get up into that starting line, it's like, no, we're not brothers. We're there to beat each other. So
Sure.
When you're racing your family and you've had that similar situation, like, okay, we're family members, but I'm going out there to beat your butt, so to speak, on that starting line. That's got to be like a unique and different feeling.
Sure. No, it most definitely is. You're lasered in on the tree, and you're lasered in at the task at hand. I mean, you almost forget who's over there. You're almost in another world for a little bit. You're so focused you almost can't even remember. You're almost in your subconscious. Honestly, you're just trying to make a good attempt, just trying to club the tree and bang your gears and kind of go from there, and hoping your little beacon's on the guardrail.
Tommy Johnson, I asked him about that one time about, can you hear the crowd? Can you, do you feel that when you go up to for a final? And he said, I don't know if there's anybody in the stands or there's a million people in the stands. I don't even know they're there. And you that's being in a zone.
Sure.
And it sounds like you know that feeling.
And when you're out of it, and and the time slip will show you when you're out of it too. So will the race pack graph when it comes to the shifting. When you're not in with yourself with the car too. And especially in a pro stock car. It'll really tell you. And that's what makes it so much more difficult at running those cars, is you really got to be one with it.
Let's talk about that for a moment before we close this episode. A lot of people may not know this, but when you're going in a pro stock car, you got to shift a lot going down that track.
Yep. You let the clutch out and you go 2, 3, 4, 5, and you reach up and grab the parachutes, or in my case, and some of the drivers, we use a button on the steering wheel to launch the parachutes. So yeah, you're banging gears that you're kind of watching, you're panning down track with your vision. You got your shift light here. Your shift light's kind of activating. You're trying to shift within the 10-5 range, and it's cognitive management. It's entertaining.
Do you still wear the blinders? I know when you showed me when you did the alcohol car, you had like these two visor shields, so you can only see forward. You couldn't see
the alcohol car. I had them here and here, but in the pro stock car, I only have them about right here. So, and maybe one strip here, but not as restrictive as the alcohol car, because the Top Fuel car and the alcohol car, I was really just trying to stay just trying to limit my vision so straight, to where the pro stock car, I wanted just a little bit more range. So yeah, I still got them.
I didn't know you did that. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think you're probably not the only one who does that.
Oh no, most all of them do. Erica does. I know Bo Buntner does. I'm sure Greg probably does. Aaron probably does. The form of, I'm gonna say everybody does.
And every horse in the Kentucky Derby does.
Yeah, pretty much.
No, I mean that's kind of where that
they have to
concept comes from, right?
Yeah, sure.
I would assume.
I would say that's where it originated.
That's not an insult to y'all. It's just,
Oh, no.
I think that's the truth, though. But
Yeah, it helps.
Troy, we'll let you get back to your wife and daughter. I know you said she's sleeping. Thank you so much for visiting us tonight.
Well, thank you for having me.
I would like to say that outside of being on Facebook Live right now and YouTube Live, this will be on Rumble and BitChute later and transformed into a podcast version, likely tomorrow, on Anchor.fm. So if you're not watching it now, you can go back and watch it later. Thanks again for your time today, Troy, and good luck on the rest of your season. I'm sure Susan and myself will see you at a track soon.
We'll see you there. And, hey, thank you for your guys' time, too. It's very valuable.
we've had so much fun. Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you.
Say hi to the whole clan for us.
Most definitely will.
Thanks.